Jobs of the Future is on a journey across the country to learn more about the ways that people are navigating the workforce.
In part one, we heard from Colorado's governor on innovative workforce development.
Tomorrow's economy is really about what you can do and what you know, not where you've been and where you studied.
And we met a team in Vermont who are proving that digital innovation can exist in a rural setting.
We have some of the fastest internet in the world, and we could be doing more to take advantage of that. It's one of the things I love about BRIC.
In part two, we'll be on the move again, learning about how effective training can be in today's world of work.
The reason why you go to a four-year college is to become successful. You want to be able to feed yourself, feed your family, create generational wealth. Well, a program like MARC can do the same thing.
Stay up to date with all of JFF's work across the U.S. and send us your thoughts and questions on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Hello, and welcome back to Horizons on the Record. I'm David Sue, Chief of Staff at Jobs for the Future.
And I'm Kristina Francis, Executive Director at JFF Labs, the innovation arm at JFF.
In part two, we're going to start by traveling to Lebanon, New Hampshire to visit an advanced manufacturing firm where apprenticeship has proven to be beneficial to learners, workers, the employer, and to the local community. Let's take a look.
I always wanted to be like an engineer, someone designing or making things that in programming. It's a very deep field. I knew it was deep going into it, very technical, but the more I learned through the apprenticeship program, like doing the classes here and doing the lab work, it's much more involved.
I was a homemaker, raising our kids, doing farmsteading, all of that. So eventually my kids got older, so it was kind of time to work on a new career path for myself. When I applied to Hypertherm, I wasn't sure I would be cut out to be a machine operator. Going through the apprenticeship program, or the HETI, the Training Institute, was a massive learning curve. You're doing an extensive 8-week program where you're very hands-on, in-depth training during that time period.
So it's like basically we're working, we get like a full shift, so it's actually a good program, so we don't have to really pay for schooling or take time out of work. We can just focus on our schooling, so it's basically like a 9 to 5.
We started our apprenticeship program in 2006 in response to the fact that we really couldn't find trained and ready machine operators. We knew our business was growing. We knew we needed to add machine operators to be able to meet the growth in demand. And we needed skilled CNC machine operators.
What we do here is we bring these folks in with no experience, no prior experience, run them through an 8-week program of academics and technical instruction.
We've had over 800 associates go through the apprenticeship program for our CNC machine operators, and the program has had about an 82% success rate. In terms of attrition, every 2 years, about 30% leave the organization to pursue careers in other organizations. So we are not only supporting Hypertherm through our own training development program, but we often have students that come through our training program, spend a couple of years here at Hypertherm, and then are able to find good CNC machine operator jobs elsewhere in the Upper Valley.
It's a set of skills that you really can't build unless you're in a focused training environment or a focused work environment. There are a lot of people out there who are excited to do this work. It's a fantastic career, and they didn't have access to that in their high school or in their other jobs that they may have gotten out of school.
One aspect of our organization that Hypertherm takes great pride in is our partnership with local schools through our STEM initiatives. Our STEM initiatives directly contact local area high schools for both STEM camps, summer camps, as well as student engagement into our apprenticeship. The labor market has changed dramatically with regards to COVID, with regards to the recovery from COVID, and therefore our apprenticeship program has adjusted and adapted to that as well.
I do like the idea of a leadership path. Working with the people, acting as a trainer for our department has been a really big part of my personal development.
You're on your own and you're trying to make a shift, try to get a new career path going. Apprenticeship programs are, in this economic situation, absolutely vital.
Entrepreneurship can often be the desired destination for individuals with an emphasis on Black learners and workers.
For the last stop in our journey, we're taking you to Brooklyn, New York to meet the team behind a startup called Marked, launched by entrepreneur Dion Walcott.
Marked started about 7 years ago in 2013. The idea behind it was we were doing a lot of art on sneaker competitions as a way to drive audiences to places that they typically wouldn't go. Once COVID hit, what I realized is we had hundreds of creative people who were now looking for opportunities. So we quickly changed the DNA of the brand to not only focus on events, but also create platforms to showcase talents, not just to the public, but also to the professional industries. My name is Dion Walcott, the founder and CEO of Marked, which helps artists and the creative community get exposure to career opportunities. Sneakers bring two communities together. There's the sneaker industry community or sneaker culture community, and then there's the art community. What we realized is that all white sneakers is really just a canvas, and it was an engagement tool to bring the two together.
We'll go in and we'll hold these workshops, sometimes an hour, sometimes up to 4 to 6 hours. We'll work with different students on creating a shoe, creating a narrative, a story, right? And just teaching them different aspects within the sneaker industry. Going through marketing, going through advertising, finance, budgeting, all of these life skills, all of these hard skills, soft skills as well, public speaking. All these things that you don't really think about that you can gain from the sneaker industry.
I'm Sean MacArthur. I'm a comic book illustrator and sneaker painter now. I was 5 years old. My brother, he's an artist too. He taught me how to draw, and he would draw his own comic books. I can do that too. He goes, yeah, show me. And ever since then, I had been showing them for the past 25 plus years. I went to school for a semester and it didn't work out for me. And I worked for most of my life, but I still kept drawing. That's who I wanted to be, a storyteller, a comic book artist, anything that just kind of said art and cartoons and all the cool stuff, right? Marked has provided me a rate that I didn't know existed. It's providing me a lot more than just money. It's providing me a whole different skill set. It's providing me opportunities.
A program like Marked is just as important, if not more important, than a 4-year college. The reason why you go to a 4-year college is to become successful. There's a means to an end. You want to be able to feed yourself, feed your family, create generational wealth. Well, a program like Marked can do the same thing.
Don't give up on your dreams because you think you can't make money. There's always an avenue. And if there is no avenue, make an avenue.
That was a great film and shows the variety of career possibilities based on your interests, talents, and skills. It reminds me of something that Colorado Governor Jared Polis said in part 1, that tomorrow's economy is about what you can do and what you know, not where you've been and what you've studied. We're seeing this play out today, and let's hear more of the interview with Governor Polis.
You mentioned diversity, which I think is really critically important. And I think providing a lot of these career navigation supports for people as they have to navigate this new world is going to really help with equity. And so I wonder what you think that there can be done from a policy perspective to drive equity.
So I think it's really about aligning, especially for those who are not on that conventional track. Okay, here's how you can even do an inventory of your own skills, your strengths. Here's what you may need, gaps that can be filled. Here's how you do that. Doesn't take as much time or cost as much as you think. And then here's the opportunity to earn more with that kind of credentialing. And of course, this is all welcome news from the employer side, from the business side. Lots of jobs to fill. We're also breaking down barriers to occupational licensing in our state, giving credit, for instance, for people who might have worked overseas in different fields, allowing them to practice their trade here. If somebody has been, a mason or a stylist for 20 years in another country, they're probably better at it and ready to go right when they hit the ground here. Also making sure that immigration status is not a barrier to being able to practice your occupational trade that you're well qualified for.
I gather there's some work that can be done and that you're doing here in Colorado on the veterans front. veterans who have been trained while they're in the military.
That's an exciting one for us because Colorado is a big military state. We have a number of active duty military institutions. Over 400,000 veterans have made our state their forever home. And so it's really about how you can make sure that people get full credit for what they learned and their experiences in the military and the private sector. Enormous demand, whether it's aerospace industry or whether it's policing or another field entirely. We want to make sure that we are able to meet people with where they are and make sure that we can fully validate the many experiences and learnings that they had in the U.S. military while serving our nation.
So we've talked about a lot of different sectors now, like the public sector, the private sector, state, local, federal. And I think that to help students or help workers through the new economy is going to take the collaboration of all of these different sectors. So I wonder if you've really seen these different sectors stepping up, if there are good examples of collaboration, or places, frankly, where you would like to see more of the private sector or another.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is organic from the ground up. Employers recognize this need, some faster than others, right? Some saying we're moving towards skills-based hiring, some engaging with their local workforce center, community college, school districts, others a little slower to do that. But I encourage private sector employers to step up and partner. I think they'll generally find willing partners on the public side, again, county workforce, community colleges, school districts. And a lot of these marquee partnerships that we have in our state, like the St. Vrain Innovation Center, really are able to come about because of strong public-private partnerships with major employers in the area, in that case, IBM and many others.
Is there advice that you would offer to other governors that really want to lead in this workforce development and career navigation space?
Let's really lean into it. Certainly every governor oversees their own state workforce, 31,000 people in our state, in other states it's larger. So transition to skills-based hiring, form partnerships. There's different degrees of involvement that governors have with the governance of their higher ed institutions. I appoint most of their boards, K-12, locally elected, but just bringing folks to the table. So a combination of kind of carrots, policy incentives, to bring the private sector to the table as well, to say, look, let's not only meet the workforce needs for the future, but let's also provide transformational opportunities for people in our state today.
Very good. Well, thanks for having us today.
Thank you.
That was such a great conversation with Governor Polis of Colorado.
Yeah, we've met so many fascinating people across the country. It's been a pleasure to be on this journey and delve deeper into the topic of career navigation. We've seen that there's so many options for individuals.
Remember that you can stay up to date with all of JFF's work across the country and send us your thoughts and questions on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Thank you for joining us. You've been watching Horizons on the Record, presented by Jobs for the Future.
And with that, we'll see you next time.